Okay, well, good morning, everybody. This is Brent Lundgren. I live in North Dakota, and I'm looking out my back patio window, and there's a ton of snow. So I have to, as soon as this meeting's over, I got to go blow some snow. So you guys that live down in the south, enjoy your day, because I'll be enjoying mine. You know, one of the things we've talked about is with doing this living benefit crusade is how do we get living benefits? And today, one of the things that we wanted to do is talk a little bit more about the IUL, the indexed UL, the 7702 plan, and give you a little bit more of a background, maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with it, but also to feel a little bit more bold with it. And so when someone says, well, I've got a 401k and that's got to be the best thing, in the back of your mind, you got to be able to say, well, you just don't know that you don't know. Now, you can't jump all over that guy and say, no, you're wrong, I'm right, because then you might get nothing out of the transaction. So, but we want to try to give you some things that'll get you more bold. So the question is, where should we put our money? Should we do the Roth IRA, 401k, or the 7702 plan? Now, again, living benefits, they're available in three ways. Last week, Mike talked about term, and what was the positive of term? Lowest cost, short term, correct? But highest cost, long term, all right? And so we're going to show you a little couple examples of that today. And if you do a term policy, it's important, in fact, it's imperative that you show them the costs, what they're going to be, whether it's in year 11, year 16, year 21, or year 31. It's important that you point out those costs to show them that, okay, term's a great product for the short term because it's the lowest cost, but in year 21, how are you going to address this, okay? And then in a couple weeks, we'll have somebody talk about the GUL. If you're talking to somebody that's 50 or above, I think the GUL can make some pretty good sense. Can it be good for a 35, 40-year-old? I'm sure it can. I would prefer, if they can afford to, get them into the indexed UL, because then they've got time for the money to get potentially, you know, high single digits or even maybe potentially double-digit growth, at least in some years, but also start taking income out. So the question you got to ask yourself is, which one fits the budget, okay? You can't take something round and put it in a square hole. So which one fits the budget? If you remember, Mike talked about doing a term. Now, he did a higher amount. I want to show you this as we do this indexed presentation, that for $429,000 of 30-year term, it was $494 a year. But then what happened in year 21? Year 31, excuse me. That cost went to $20,000. That's what I was just talking about. If you sell a term, and there's nothing wrong with selling term to get them in. You know, the old saying, get them to church, baptize them at a later date. And so we kind of look at term as getting them to church, getting them to show up, getting them to get some form of living benefits. And then as we educate them, because now they're our client and we've got stuff we can email and send and show and YouTube videos and all sorts of things, then what we want to do later is talk. So we've got to talk about that in year 31. All right, how are you going to handle that? And so the question's going to be something like this. Honey, we still have that life insurance, right? Well, what do you mean? Now it's year 31 and you got the bill. The bill was $20,000. And most likely, what did the husband do? Let it go. Because they probably don't have $20,000 to pay for life insurance. So she says, we still have that life insurance, right? Because I was talking to somebody at work and I just wanted to make sure we had coverage. And at that point, the husband kind of has this red face and goes, honey, no, I let that expire. Well, why did you do that? Well, because I just $20,000, I couldn't afford it. Now, if you're in front of you, obviously you're in front of your computer, grab a piece of paper, write year 31 and write down the number 20,710. And then right next to it, write the death benefit of $429,000. So the question comes is this: are you going to be able to go from having $479,000 of life insurance to zero of life insurance overnight? because it's going to be one day you got it and the next day you don't. Okay? By the way, this is an IUL plan that we're going to go over. In year 31, what's the cost of the life insurance? $484. So let me ask you a question. If it's only costing $484 out of the cost of the insurance, is that person going to let it drop or let it lapse? Again, our job, guys, we have a huge job here. Nobody knows about this stuff. Hopefully you can agree with that. Nobody knows about this. Our job's to educate them as to what's going to happen, not only today, but in 20, 30, and 40 years, to show them that we can find a way that we can eliminate that high cost. And so if you go back to the term plan and you say, now if I could show you a way where you wouldn't have to worry about this $20,000, would you want to find out more how that works? Absolutely. So we show them how we do that. All right. Now, you got to get a needs analysis done. And I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. But the bottom line I want to show you, in this example, what did it show for life insurance costs? 1.175. Can somebody just write that down on a piece of paper as well? What did it show they had to put away in their budget? 1,000. Okay. They were putting some money in stocks and mutual funds. They have life insurance premium. Okay. They were making a contribution. It doesn't really matter if it's an IRA or 401k, but there was no match. Okay. And when you ask the question, hey, how much additional money can you afford to put away? And they said 250. So I've got 1,000 to play with right here is my point. Now we're going to go a little bit more in depth next week on putting the illustration together. How do we get these numbers and so forth? Today is a little bit more education, but at the end, I'm going to come back to this situation right here. So make sure you work on that. In fact, Al, I think we need to have a day of just working on this, getting it filled out right. The 401k, where does that come from? It's in the U.S. tax code. It's section 401k. So if you get the U.S. tax code books and you go to section 401k, that's the 401k plan. That's where it came from, okay? Section 7702 talks about life insurance as potentially tax-free income. The 401k came out in the 60s and 70s. The life insurance came out in 1760. Which one's been around a little bit longer? Now let's talk about doubling our money. You know, a 2% difference. If you get 6% or 8% on your money, Mr. Clyde, how much difference is that? 2%? No, it's really 100% over time. So 2% better or higher rate of return on your dollars can double the amount of money that you have down the road, say in 30 or 40 years. This is the S&P since 1999. It shows up here that if we would have indexed it, it's 367. And if we'd have let it sit in the S&P market, it's 217. Well, that's 4.17 return versus 7.22. Can you guys see that on the screen okay, Al, or is that in the way?
No, can see it fine.
Okay, can see it fine. All right. So guys, what's the difference? 3.05. So that's the last 18, 19 years. What does the next 18 or 19 look like? We don't know. We can't say. If we knew, somebody would be lining up at our door to find out. But we can basically go on history. And I remember in school we studied history, and I always kept saying, why are we studying history, man? This stuff already happened. I think we studied history so we learn from it and don't repeat it or copy it, one of the two. Now, where do we get these rates of return? Not the 7.22, but where do I get this real stock market return? So when the guy says, you know, I got 401k, man, it is just going like gangbusters, okay? Where does that real rate of return come from? Well, it comes from the SAGR of the stock market, okay? Anybody know what SAGR stands for? Compound Actual Growth Rate, I believe is what it is. And you can go in here. Now, how do I get to Sagar? If I go, right here is the link. Okay. And that's the link right there. You can go to, it's in Money Chimp. And I can go down here and I can say, all right, from 1999. Oops, sorry about that. My locks was on. 1991. Okay. Till December 31st, 2017. That's, excuse me, 91. I want 99. My return was 4.17. Isn't the number we were talking about? And if we actually go in here and go 2000, the return is actually 3.38. So you can actually show somebody, and if he says, well, what's the last 20 years? Well, then we'd have to go to, what, 1997? It's 6.3. So you can go in there and have this to use if you choose to for all that. So I'm going to get back to that. I just wanted you to know we're not pulling the numbers out of a hat. Let's talk about fees. Average fees, 1.3 to 1.5. Then you got to pay for the mutual fund costs. The mutual fund managers need to get paid. So the actual fee is 2.9 to 4.67. Guys, does 2% make a difference? Now, this is a 7702 plan, also called the IUL, and that did a calculation of male, non-smoking, starting at 35. The actual fees were between 33 and 59 basis points, so a little bit less than 1%. There's no other asset in the marketplace with or without risk that is this inexpensive over a lifetime. Now, if you buy an IUL, keep it for 1 year, it's going to be expensive. But we're talking for a lifetime. These products should be marketed for a lifetime for that person. Now, let's look at the fees here for a second. Over a 30-year period, and we're going to invest $10,000 at 8% a year for 30 years. If I have no fees, I'll have $1.2 million. If I have a 1% fee, I have $995,000, almost $2 million less. 2% fee. Look what the 2% fee does, $800,000. It's not half, but it's what, 40% less? And then here's an IUL with the same amount of money with the IUL, it's 1.18 million, which shows that the IUL has less than a 1% fee. Interesting. What about taxes? Where do we think they're going to go? We know they're going somewhere. Okay? They're going to go up, down, or you're going to stay the same. We think they're probably going to go up based on our current debt. We know they have been much, much higher. Okay? So they've been high in the past, and they're down over here now. There's a pretty good chance they could go back up again. And then we look at the sustainability of the federal revenues. Right now is our total revenues. And that's why we're still losing ground, but we haven't lost a ton of ground yet. It's only going to get what? It's going to get worse. If we don't raise revenues, this is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. 49% of the budget goes to Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, which is all the baby boomers. I don't think the baby boomers are going to say, nah, let's just take a less of a check. We'll try to help the young people. Don't think that's going to happen. I just believe that they're going to raise this black line, and that's basically going to have to be in some form of revenue, which in most cases is going to be taxes. And then if you haven't read The Power of Zero, again, remember we prefaced this presentation to get you better feeling good about the IUL, feeling bold about the IUL, feeling like I got to talk to more people about this product. You need to read The Power of Zero. Okay. And then you need to carry it with you and have it in your bag. So if you're giving a presentation, you can do that. If you're giving it online like we are, you need to use this slide. If you're at their home, you need to have it with you. If it's in their office, and you should have the Power of Zero, and you should have the book. It should look like it's marred up, coffee stains, you name on it, and highlighted, so that that person knows that maybe you know. And so have this book handy with you at all times. And then the New Rules of Money, which is written by Martin Ruby, another book I recommend that you have read, marked up, highlighted, the whole 9 yards. Carry it with you like a Bible, because Martin Ruby is an actuary. He's not a sales guy. And his daughters came to him and said, "What should we do, Dad, for retirement?" And he thought, being an actuary, a math genius, and he didn't have the answer. He said, "I'm going to find out." And he was doing the 401k. He thought that was the way you should do it. And he basically starts out in chapter 1, I did it all wrong. So if you can get this book in the hands of your client, have them read chapter 7 and chapter 8. It's 11 pages. It pretty much tells them the IUL is the best plan to have. And he kind of explains it. The 401k, it's great for growth, but that's it. There's no protection from risk. It's not tax-free. It's no flexibility. There's no low fees. It doesn't self-complete. There's no death benefit other than the actual value, and there's no living benefit other than the actual value. So it's good for one thing, growth. That's it. The Roth, good for one thing, two things, growth, tax-free income, savings account, money market. But then he adds the 7702 plan, the IUL, which is good for meaningful growth, protection from down market. It's tax-free. There's flexibility. The fees are low. It self-completes. There's a death benefit, and there's a living benefit. Only product out there that fits all of those categories. Guys, we just need to educate people. But first, we got to educate ourselves. If we don't understand it, how are we going to expect somebody else to? We've got to understand it. We've got to take the time and the due diligence. You got to read the books. You got to watch the videos, all those types of things. And then this is a guy that started the 401k. Name's Ted Bina. Okay? And I love this. He talks about 401ks have become too complicated, expensive, and rife for opportunities for mistakes. This is a guy that started it. 84% of private sector workers who participated in employment-based retirement plans were enrolled in a traditional pension in 1979. By 2011, 93% were enrolled in 401ks. 401ks are the largest, most common type of defined contribution plan. Why did that happen? The government, there were so many companies that were behind in funding their pension plans, which meant to the client, you work here for 30, 40 years, we'll give you a salary. We'll pay your retirement. So many companies were behind on funding them. The government had to bail out so many. They changed the laws and changed the rules, and Bina helped them come up with, well, let's do a 401k, where the companies only have to contribute to the client's account if the client contributes. If the client does not contribute, you don't have to. But it wasn't designed to be 100% of their retirement. It was designed to be for about a third of it. Now, I love this. They're not serving the beneficiaries well. Guys, you got to get this in your client's hands, man. You got to let them read it. First, they're too complicated. There's too many investment options. Second, 401ks are too expensive. A typical 401k is a clown car. Guys, this is the guy that invented it. This is the guy that put it together. Is a clown car of high-priced, actively managed funds. High-priced. Why are they high-priced? Probably because they can. Even the odd index funds is more expensive in a 401k than it is outside the plan. Same fund, inside a 401k, they charge more fees than they charge for the fund, same fund, outside of the plan. Shouldn't that be illegal? Fees and other costs are not very transparent. Too little information. Okay? Begs employees to chase high flying investments that might swoon. What does that mean? Well, right now they're picking their funds for 2018 based off the returns of 2017. It's the only information they have. Crazy. I'll get this article. We should have this in the back office, Al. It'd be great to have. So let's compare some IRA and IUL. Let's do the math. Okay? Do the math. So here we have guy 35. He has an IRA. There's no match. He says, I'm going to contribute $5,000 a year. Death benefit account value is death benefit and living benefit is just account value. So early on is very little. Later it can be substantial. And we're going to give him a 7.16% return. Why are we doing that? To give him an equal return to the ANICO IUL. We're going to charge a 1.5% fee, which is half of what it probably is. And he will have about $518,000 at age 70. Typically, 5% withdrawal is kind of the rule of thumb. You could say, Brent, I've heard 4, I've heard 3, I've heard 2. But he probably could go to an annuity and take that $518,000, and the annuity company would say, we'll give you 5% for life. He's going to have $25,000, but he's got to pay some taxes on it. So he nets $16,000. He had to have market risk, fee risk, and tax risk because we don't know what the rates are. We don't know what the fees are. And we don't know if the market's going to do 7.16 because it hasn't done it in the last 19 years. Or he can take that $5,000, put it in a 7702 plan or the IUL with ANICO, get an instant death benefit of $429,000, get living benefits up to about 90%. That's the rate of return. The fees and the costs are included in the bottom line. So it's $560,000. So what does this show you? I don't know what it shows you, but here's what it shows me. The cost of the IUL, the insurance, and all the costs involved is less than 1.5%. Because he has more money. So when someone says IULs are expensive, here's one way to show compared to what? What's expensive to you? Now, why do I use 8% withdrawal? You just do the illustration. It shows $44,000 a year coming out. Divide that by the 560, which is the cash, and it comes out to about 8%. So that's why that's there. Now, why can we get a higher return? Because of arbitrage. Because our money never leaves the account. Our money stays in the account. We go to the insurance company and say, I would like to borrow against the money in my account. So we're probably getting a 7 or 8% return and only paying a 4% interest rate. So we're getting a 3 or 4% arbitrage on our own money. That's why that happens. So that's an extra $28,000. That's an extra $2,000 a month. $2,500 a month. That's kind of like having an extra wife, if you will, on Social Security. There's the illustration. There's the living benefits. There's our $5,000 going in. There's our death benefit. There's our surrender value. Now, if I surrender this policy in the second year, has this been a good plan? I put in $10,000 and I get back 0. So if I keep this for 2 years, guys, that's why this is expensive. And when someone says, well, an IUL is expensive. Yeah, if you cash it out in 2 years, you're right. It is expensive. But if I keep it for life, it's a pretty good product. That's why we market term. For some people, if they say, I can't afford to put that much money in, let's get them into a term plan until they can. Shows our income coming out. So this is all we do is run the illustration. Show the math in the pots. That's what I do. And then show the illustration here. Guys, most of us on this phone can't read an illustration. How do we expect a client to? We put in $175,000. We still have $554,000 death benefit. Oh, and by the way, we got $224. We got all our money back in 5 years. At age 90, we put in $175. We've received back $1.1 million. Totally tax-free. Pretty good plan. Now, Let's look at our cost of insurance. Year 31, remember that? 484. So are we going to drop the plan? Is this plan probably going to stay on the books? Is this plan probably going to stick around? Is this husband going to have to be embarrassed that one day he had insurance and the next day he doesn't? Because remember what happens in the term plan. Remember, guys, term is good if you only need it for the short term. But if you need it for the long term, it's not as good of a product. Well, but Brent, I've got a Roth IRA, so I won't have to pay taxes. You're right. You'll have the same money, same income, but you won't have to pay taxes, but you're still $18,000 less. Yeah, but I got a match with my plan. I got a 50% match, so I get free money. Yes, you do get free money, but you also, your money, your $5,000 goes into what we call tax prison. So your free money goes into prison with it. And I always thought prison wasn't such a good place. Well, I put in 5, I get a match of 2,500. I have 776,000. I get 38 minus my taxes. I'm still 19,000 behind. Yeah, but I get 100% match. I mean, that's got to be, well, I don't know, Mr. Client. Let's do the math. Let's see how it comes out. So there's 10 grand. I got $1 million. Now, isn't $1 million better than 560,000? It is if you're talking about money in your pot, but what we got to talk about is distribution. And distribution is how much can I get out and how much I'm going to pay in taxes. Well, after taxes, it's 33,000. After over here, it's 44,000 a month. Now, I don't know about you guys, but 1,000 a month at retirement could make the difference between going to Florida for a couple months or Phoenix or Arizona for a couple months in the winter. Yeah, but the IRS is going to make this illegal. Really? I think the IRS has already spoken. The IRS has placed limits on the amount of premium you can pay into a universal life policy. In order to receive favorable federal tax treatments on distribution during the lifetime of the insured, okay, this is what you have to do. So the IRS has already answered the question. They know about it. Now, in this example, we were putting in 5,000 a year, right? So we were putting in the maximum guideline annual premium, it's called. It's how much you can contribute each and every year. But then it also has 55,931. Can I put in 55,000? No. That's the most I can put in the first 11.18 years. How do you know that? I take that 55,000 divided by the 5,000. That's how many years. Well, I want to make a lump sum. How much is the most I can put in? You can put in $14,288 in any 1 year. Okay, any 1 year. So each illustration, okay, whether it's ANICO, LSW, I mean, it doesn't matter. They all have their guidelines, but I wanted to show you what the guidelines are and what they mean. Now, remember what the rate of return was? It was 4.17. What if the rate of return, we were giving them 7.16. What if the return was 4.17? Because that's historically what it's been. And the IUL has been 7.22. So now if we go into here, all of a sudden, it's a $26,000 a year difference. What do I have to put away if I get 4.17? What do I have to put away to get the same basically net income? I have to put in 300% more money. In other words, I got to find a company that's going to, if I put in 5,000, they'll match me 19,000. Probably not going to happen, is it? That's the equalizer. All right, so remember, guy needed $1.1 million. He had 1,000. So I'm going to end with this. We did a quick illustration on this example, which is pretty cool. We just took the 1,000 and I'm not going to go through getting onto the site and how to do it, but we just put the 1,000 a month, and look what came out: 1,054,000 and 107,000 a year tax-free income, almost identical to what he needed. Now, how much did we put into this program right here? Somebody write this number down: 420,000. By age 75, we contributed 420. And by age 75, we've gotten all of our money back. We put in 420. By age 75, we've gotten 535. We are walking away off the table. We didn't lose anything. Plus, we still got our coverage over here of $1 million. If I go over here and I want to get the same money at the end of the day, I would have to contribute $2,668 a month. So even if the guy had a 401k with 100% match, he can't get there, guys. He can't. And that's if he gets 7.16, which more than likely it's going to end up being, remember the 4.12, 4.17? If he gets the 4.17, comparing it to the IUL, he needs to contribute $4,875 a month to get the same income that his brother's getting at retirement. Is a company gonna, if he puts in $1,000 a month, will the company match him another $3,875? Probably not. Again, we get living benefits. Now, I want to show you something interesting. Well, I'll just go buy a term policy. It's cheaper. It's less money compared to what? So there's the $1 million death benefit. There's the premium. But in year 31, I'm going to pay $50,000. Now, let's just say this guy says, well, I've got money in my 401k, so I'm going to pay it that year. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay the 50, and then the next year, and at age 70, I'll have put in $338,000 into the plan. My cost in year 31 is $1,400. I'm probably not going to worry about losing it. I'll probably keep it. But remember, how much should I put into this plan of term insurance? $338,000. Am I eventually going to get rid of it? Absolutely. I got $338,000 in it. How much more did I have to put into the IUL? $338,000 minus $420,000. Maybe it's $100,000. But look what, at age 75, I've got all my money back. The guy with the term is still worrying about the coverage. And with the IUL, I've put more in, yes, but I've already got at age 75 all my money back. The guy with the term, how much has he gotten back? He ain't gotten back anything. He's still out $338,000. So wouldn't it make more sense to spend a little bit more now to get all your money back? Now, we want living benefits. We think that's important. The question is, which one fits our budget? Which one fits our budget? We have to figure out how to do the simple needs analysis so we can find out how we can rearrange the money. If you're new, get with a person upline to you that knows how to do that. Our job as leaders is to find the money and get it into, find out the best way then to use it to fit the budget. Term can be great. Universal life can really be good if we can fund it right. So Al, that's the end for me. If you want to take back over, that'd be great.
Great job, Brent. Yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to have Mike show people in the back office of FEG. So Mike, you can grab the screen while I talk. But that's, you make some great points there, because when you talk about term insurance, you're right. In comparison, right? And compared to what? You had some great lines in there. In comparison to what? Well, yeah, I can buy a term policy for $500, but do I want the policy in place when I die? Well, yeah. Well, chances are that's not going to happen, because, like you pointed out, $1,000 premium is going to go to $50,000. They're going to drop that policy without question. They're not going to keep it, but they would keep an IUL. And I think when you do that and you look at long term, you say, well, what's the difference in cost? Well, this one here, you get all your money back. So in essence, what if you could have free insurance? Now, I know it's not free, but I mean, I think you all get the point, right? If at age 70 you stop paying, and by age 75 you got all your money back out, well, if that's all that happened, and now, God forbid, you died or got sick, well, didn't you really have it for free in that sense? Because you got all your money back. So there's so many people that need to hear that story, because they look at the short-term cost, and you brought about why there's a benefit long-term. Just a couple other key points just to reiterate, and I know next week you're going to do part 2 of this, which is actually diving into the proposal, but I think it's important. You brought up one slide there about the IRS, where you said, well, you know what? They already have decided on this here, right? And that's why we have those rules. That's a great slide right there. And, remember, gang, for everybody that's on this call today, this is for training purposes. We'll have this in the back office. Mike will show you where it is here in a second. Obviously, this recording will be up there probably within a couple of days. But we'll show you where we're putting these here, and this will be basically labeled part 1. Next week, we'll do part 2, and this is the mode here. We want to get everybody understanding what we do in detail now as to how it gets done, why this is a phenomenal product for everybody to own. They just need to understand it. I shouldn't say own. I should say retire with it. So, Mike, I'll let you grab the screen here. I see that you already got it up there. Why don't you take over?
Awesome. Thank you. And that was a fantastic job, Brent. Really appreciate, Brent's got a lot of experience in our industry, and to be able to share some time with him this morning and have him explain to you why he's had success, it's a big deal. So take advantage of this, and I'm going to show you how you can repeatedly take advantage of this. I mean, we should all know that we have a team tool, and we've created this team tool a couple of years ago to give you access to things that we do here with Brent and Al and myself and some other leaders around the country. We wanted to put it all in one place where you can find the information that you need to find and have access to the information when you need it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, our team site is freedombuilderinfo.com. Okay, there's a lot of information on here. I'm not going to go through all of it with you because we did record a tour of this site for you to get an idea. But we do have our presentation up here, this video right in the middle. If you wanted to share it with a brand new person, you could literally just pull out your phone or tablet or computer, press play. You don't even have to give your own presentation. Let us do it for you, okay? But I'm going to go over here to the team login section because this is where you're going to find our tools and our resources. So it does require a password. That password is all lowercase, the word freedom, because that's what we believe in and that's what we want to do. So we're continuously working on this site, updating it as we get new presentations, updating it as we get more videos recorded. But this is a great resource for you to be able to use to get the things that you need to get to be successful in the field. Okay, so if you want to learn how to use this site, this is a short 7 or 8 minute video that will just take you through each and every individual page. But I'm going to show you very specific things here today related to what we're doing on Monday mornings. Okay, so when you click on these tabs here, they all bring up a different page. Your first 30 days builder training. I'm going to click on product trading to show you where you can find the information, not only that we did last week, but the information that you saw today and you will see next week, okay? So When you click on product training, we did this video, a couple months ago, the evolution of a product. This is fantastic information that our CEO, Al Cardi, put together on how we got to IUL in the industry. He's got 33 years experience. He's basically seen it all transition over time. He kind of explains it to them. Last week, I covered how to do a term policy, how to use the ANICO software, how to create that illustration, why it's advantageous, and how you can present it to your client. And that is all right here in a 38-minute video. This, folks, you can watch this as many times as you want. You can bookmark this. This is all information that you have access to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, okay? And we've also already put placeholders in place for the training that you saw today. Brent Lundgren's IUL Part 1, Part 2 will go right next to it. We gave you the resources to reach out to American National. Here's a quick link back to their IMG site. Here's our agent services link, and if you need to email them, it's all right there, okay? So I wanted to show this to you because the resources are available to you 24 hours a day. When I joined FEG 5 years ago, I was told you need to be a student of the business, and there's a lot of ways to do that. The best way is to field train. But when you're not in the field, when you're not working with somebody or speaking to a client or showing a presentation, how can you be a student of the business? This is how. Go back, watch these videos, learn a little bit of the dialogue that the people who have done it for years and years and years say to their clients. Brent Lundgren's been in the industry, 20, 30 years. He obviously has figured out what it takes to be successful. Why wouldn't you learn from that? The footprints are already in the sand. All we have to do is follow them. So Brent's video is going to be right here. When we do Part 2 next Monday at 10 a.m. Central Time, that's going to be right next to it. So you're going to get a full suite of IUL and how that works. And as we continue to do these trainings, we're going to put them right here on the product training page in the team login section. There is two other things, that I wanted to show you. Under your toolbox, there are a couple of things that Brent used, as far as the simple needs analysis. Well, Mike, how do I get a simple needs analysis? I don't know where to find it. Log into Freedom Builder Info, click on simple needs analysis, download it, save it to your computer, and it's there. Oh, well, what about that 401k slide and whatnot? How do I get those calculators? It's right here in your toolbox, right? A good carpenter doesn't just show up to a job site with a hammer and 3 nails and hopes to build a house. He has all the tools necessary to make sure that he's able to do his job the right way or her job the right way. Well, here are all your tools, folks. Regardless of where you are today, you have the opportunity to leverage these tools. And if you're not in a position to do the presentation, well, you should be practicing that presentation. Here it is. Here's our onboarding. Here's our, quick 4 or 6 pager. Here's a presentation on what to say. These are all things that you can look at your disposal when you need to sharpen the tools, right? And the last thing that I wanted to point out, because Brent does make a good point, you got to keep those things on you like a Bible, right? That book by Martin Ruby and The Power of Zero, and some of these articles that he put out. And, Brent, you send me those articles, we'll put them up here. But this other resource page has access to third-party articles that were created by MSNBC, Fox Business News, Inc. magazine. There are all different types of very, very credible sources that have wrote information regarding living benefits, regarding IUL. Here's your Roth 401k versus Index Universal Life. 13 reasons why your 401k is your risky investment. Do you think that if you gave that presentation and then had this article with you, would people listen? Absolutely, 100%. That's why it's here at your disposal, right? And we put all this up there. And if you're looking for some of the books that Brent was talking about, they're all right here. Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game, The Power of Zero. Here's another book that he talked about. Martin Ruby's book is also here in the slideshow as well. So these are all just recommended reads, third-party articles to use at your disposal. But again, I'll just click on this so you understand right in the middle of the page, as soon as you log in, product training. Everything that we're doing on Mondays, we're recording, and we're doing it for a reason, to give you access to the information from people who have been doing it for a long, long time. Use that time wisely. use the tools that you have access to and get those knives nice and sharp so when you go out there, you can really make a difference in people's lives. So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes showing you where that information is. And with that said, I'll turn it back over to you to close us out.
Okay, Mike, Brent, thanks. And for everybody on the call, we appreciate you being here. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. What I would recommend is, put as many people on this. It's going to be every Monday, 10 a.m. Central Time. I know you probably have some people that maybe have jobs and they're out working and they can't be on this, but everybody who can be on it, I would encourage you to have them on. And at the very least, make sure that they know that the recording has been done and it's in the back office. So with that, logging off, Coach Lundgren, thanks for all your help, buddy. This was a fantastic presentation. Looking forward to hearing you next week as well. Have a great day, everybody. Let's make some stuff happen this week. Thanks.